This video is sponsored by Ragnarok Origin, which is a brand new take on the original Ragnarok Online that came out in 2002. The game features high dynamic battle action with tons of weapons with improved strike motion that get beyond what the original version offered, and swift, fast response to the controls. You can also discover and hire unique mercenaries to help you on your journey as you hunt together as a group. Unique content to express yourself such as emotes, stickers, and also fashion for customizing your character, and possibly a chance to be featured in the game's cover magazine. The game was also very happy to announce that they've begun the One Challenge to celebrate their first anniversary. You can pretty much participate by singing or recording and uploading a cover video of The One, which is part of the Ragnarok Origin soundtrack. The 100 winning participants will be chosen based on subjective and objective grading criteria. Check out the participation details on the event page and show your talent through the challenge right now. Links are in the description and they will also be pinned in the comments. Sure you know this by now, but in the real world, a lot of main protagonists tend to be very weak, but when they get isekai'd into another world, they will gain powers to become overpowered, just like this guy right here. So, today's video we are going to be covering everyone's favorite genre, 10 isekai anime with an overpowered main protagonist. If you are new around here, then please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel with the notifications bell icon turned on to stay up to date with the latest anime news and recommendations right at your doorstep. Now, without keeping you all waiting, let us begin with the video. Starting this list off with My Isekai Life, a series that speaks for itself in the case of being one of the most generic isekai anime I've watched. Since I watch almost every anime that comes out each season because, you know, why not? This anime features a powerful protagonist who dominates all opposing forces and screams, "I'm basically unbeatable." He has no emotions or reactions and is a lifeless human being in a fantasy world with slimes as his companions who do a lot or most of the work, to be honest. However, what makes the show quite entertaining is the promotion of teamwork. Seeing characters work together, the slimes helping out to defeat enemies is quite satisfying, yet it doesn't really justify the rest of the cons that this anime truly faces. If you like log horizon, like, you know, an incredibly logical and somewhat unconventionally thinking character, and you've been looking for a more mature take on the isekai genre, then go and watch this anime called How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. You're going to find this incredibly boring if you're not really into smart characters using their intellect to shape the world around them. The name of the anime basically describes everything you'd expect to see. The show overall is a really fun ride which focuses on the political elements of a somewhat medieval setting and using logical and politics as well as a bit of economics to make a failed kingdom a much better one. Sounds simple, but it does have quite a lot of information being given out, but despite that, it's one of the better isekai recommendations that I can provide, and I'm sure that you all will truly enjoy it. Brought to us by both Studio Kai and Studio Hornets, this anime here is called Skeleton Knight in Another World, an isekai series where our protagonist gets sent to the video game world where he becomes his very own avatar of a powerful skeleton knight with insane and cool abilities on his journey in this brand new world. The anime does also have somewhat moderate use of CGI in some areas here and there, but it is very tolerable to the point where you will keep watching the show just due to how entertaining it truly is. People even compared this to anime like Overlord, with Ainz Ulgon being somewhat of a sort of a knockoff version of him, and I guess it's just a way of people making some jokes to have some fun. It's definitely a well-made anime with a cool story of the protagonist saving elves and, freeing them from prison. It's not much, but, it does get the job done at being quite satisfying. Aside from this anime being quite rushed with, horribly implemented CGI work, I guess you could say it's bad and not worth watching. However, while I do appreciate the show's attempt to world build and develop characters, some stretches of episodes just felt boring to me and, it didn't really offer anything to really hold my attention. But I imagine some rather important bits of the story were probably omitted due to time constraints as well, which is typical for adaptations, really. This anime is not disappointing by, any means necessary, but it's also not great either. But I do think it's something you should all give it a try. In the end, isekai is a genre that is so popular, and no matter how bad an anime could be, others may enjoy it and find some good entertainment watching it.
ここは魔法で頼む次こそは発行してくれ
Have you ever dreamed of being the most powerful human on Earth, the ability of giving absolute orders to others, or maybe be able to interact with animals? I'm sure you all have, but despite having these great powers, 3 teenagers from different worlds and timelines felt so bored. That is until someday they got a once-in-a-lifetime chance to abandon their worlds and live in a dangerous, strange, yet fun and interesting world called Little Garden instead. Stunning visuals, great story, insanely fun. Problem children are coming from another world, are they? It's just so... Tons of action. This is without a doubt one of the greatest isekai anime that you need to watch and definitely deserves a second season one day, which, may never ever happen.
よしよしいいぜかなり期待できそうだ行くぜ
In general, getting isekai creates many opportunities for protagonists. Obviously, it's an opportunity to start anew and fix the mistakes that you've made in your past life. But it also is an opportunity to bring knowledge from your world to a brand new one. Usually, we see that in the form of video games and mechanics, or main characters making comments about anime manga from back in Japan. But we don't get enough shows that show the main character bringing real practical skills into the new world. This here is the case where it happens in Parallel World Pharmacy, created by Studio Dio Media in 2022. The protagonist died to, overwork, reincarnates in a different body, this time as the son of a noble pharmacist with the skills beyond this world can ever experience.
やっぱりこの世界にもこいつがいたのか
Pharma, the protagonist, his name, he wishes to open up his very own pharmacy and help those people in need of, medication from their illness and use his powers for the greater good of mankind. Now we're moving on to the famous and one of the most popular and loved isekai anime of all time. That time I got Reincarnated As A Slime by Studio 8-Bit.
いいからおとなしく悪いなどうあっても俺はこの女を守るおとなしくしろって言っているんだ
A protagonist that gets killed in reality gets reincarnated as a mere weak-looking slime at the very start and taking on the alias as Rimuru Tempestu. He makes up for his appeal through a variety of personality traits. He's kind, witty, laid-back, sarcastic, courageous, and among others. When you look at all these character personalities together, Rimuru can be very, very likable. He's such a great protagonist. This anime has appealed to a wide variety of audience with colorful character cast and even great storytelling. This anime is still actually ongoing with a new movie that's coming up in Japan on November the 25th, but will require some time before it gets subbed. But I'm very excited to get back to watching this isekai series once again.
デッドエンドレインボー目覚めろグラトニー
了命令を受諾しました速やかに実行に移ります
クレフトデトネーション
パイロヒュドラ
Black Summoner, well, it gives off quite a similar vibe to the anime called World's Finest Assassin, if you know which series I'm talking about. Not only from the intro, but it's a generic anime done extremely well. Sure, it has the usual overpowered main character, isekai, gamerish, etc., but it gave a proper introduction to his servant, at least to a satisfactory point. It's not the seasonal guilty pleasure anime. I feel like if you're already watching, isekai animes, then this anime, Black Summoner, should be an easy recommendation from a lot of them.
仕上げだレディエンスランサー
The protagonist has somewhat of a special trait to himself of being a battle junkie, meaning he wishes to only take on stronger opponents than himself for the thrill of the battle and just to enjoy it, since to me, protagonists like this is what I absolutely love the most.
ブルースフィア帝国すべてを皇帝から貴族平民に至るまで全てを滅ぼしてあげますからね
Wise Man's Grandchild follows the typical isekai storyline of being reborn in another world as an overpowered main character. Now, while I personally enjoy these types of anime, I can understand why the majority of weebs out there are sick of this non-unique and generic concept with only slight differences in the story. I'll say it up front that if you are one of those people that despises isekais, then this is without a doubt not the anime for you. Now, the art of this anime is pretty generic, and there isn't really anything in particular that stands out as far as the art style goes. I don't really mind it, but I know that other people out there will believe me in the contrary. Even with all these flaws, I for some reason really enjoyed watching Wise Man's Grandchild, and while I must admit that I have somewhat of a bad taste in anime, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that by now, but I believe that Wise Man's Grandchild is quite the enjoyable watch. And now finally, to end this list off, what I'm recommending to you all is Mushoku Tensei or Jobless Reincarnation, created by Studio Bind, and many argue this to be one of the best isekai series of all time. Story, characters, and world building is where this anime truly shines the most. It starts slow to introduce us to the protagonist, his past life, and where he ended up after his death. Over the course of the show, we're introduced to more lovable characters that you will want to see more of. From Roxy, his magic instructor who helped him, when it came to magic, Sylphie, who was his childhood friend, Eris, who was the girl that he is assigned to teach throughout his adventure, and also the strong and feared Rudyard. This anime also doesn't really have an opening, making it quite unique to starting every single episode. And with every opening, to be honest, it tells a story, and I absolutely love that. Other isekais should definitely take note on how to make proper series like this, because this anime, if you haven't watched it yet, now is your chance.
がブレる2つ3つにブレて見えるのだ長くて1秒先これがブレない未来の限界だ
Looks like you just made it to the end of the video and witnessed 10 isekai anime with an overpowered main character. If I have managed to leave any anime out in particular that you thought would be a great issue on the list, then please let me know in the comment section down below, as I'd always appreciate your opinion, or just comment down below what you thought about the video in general, as I always appreciate the feedback. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one.